Sandhills Broadcasting, WFJA, and WWGP, keeping you better informed about the election.
Good afternoon. We will start today's session with Democratic candidate Tom Frye. Tom, welcome to WFJA. Folks, thanks for being here today. For those of you that are watching us online and or listening, you'll notice that I am not Dr. Matt Garrett anymore. I don't have that deep, silky smooth voice. But Tom, it's great to see you, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
As we start, please tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your background and why you're seeking election with the Lee County Board of Education.
Certainly. Well, I'm proud to say that I'm a graduate of the Lee County school systems. I'm a product of this school system. After finishing school here, I did my undergraduate work at Western Carolina University and received a degree in mathematics education. I also did my graduate work at North Carolina State University in educational leadership and completed a program at UNC Chapel Hill in the School of Government for Chief Technology Officers for educational entities. One of the first people certified in the nation to do that. I taught with the Harnett County school system for about 14 years before I made the plunge into administration. And then I served various administrative posts the remainder of my career. And I ended as superintendent of schools for several years before my retirement. As far as why I want to serve on the Board of Education, the key word there is serve. I think people should look for ways to serve their community, to make their community better, and they should share their expertise. Well, for me, education is not just my expertise, it's my passion. I believe if we're going to have a strong community, we must have a strong school system, and we must be the school system that other school systems aspire to be like.
Outstanding. So certainly with us wearing masks today in this COVID environment, the Lee County School Board has been dealing with decisions pertaining to COVID-19 and the return to school. So what do you see as guidelines that you as a school board member should follow in future votes on continuing to return children back to the school safely?
Well, first, just with any decision that is for our school system, political agendas should play no part of that. Every decision we make needs to be about what best serves the young people of Lee County and the staff of the school system. Their safety and their well-being is our first obligation, that and above everything. I do like the fact that the school district is doing a gradual re-entry for students. We need to look at what the needs of our community happen to be. And we've got to balance that with the safety and well-being of our students, as I said. But we also have to be driven by the science and the data. And that needs to help us dictate what speed we try to return to some sense of normalcy. In thinking about going back to school, of course, the easiest thing to say would be, let's just continue in an online environment. But that's really not good for students, and it's very complicated for parents.
Right.
Most homes that I know about, the adults in the home work to support their home. And it's impossible for them to do that and try to supervise young children. So we may end up with situations where young children are not supervised as they should be. That's a safety issue. We have so many students here, just like any other school district, that are highly at risk. And they're missing out on services that we provide as a school system for them.
Such as meals.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Meals, behavioral issues, just a gamut of things that school systems provide for young people. And I'm afraid the longer we go without those students being able to be in school, those at-risk students really become in jeopardy. They grow into more of a jeopardized state. And they become even more at risk. I like the fact that the school district has a dashboard when they are tracking the cases that they have, the quarantines that they have, and that's available to the public. It should be transparent. The staff, the students, the parents, everyone in the community should know what the school district is facing. It's important that choice be built in to any plan that we have. And parents have a choice. They have a choice with the virtual academy, and I commend that as well. We've got to monitor the data that we use to populate our dashboard. We have to monitor the new science that's emerging, the data that's emerging, and using that, if necessary. We may have clusters that need to go back into being completely online for periods of time, and we have to be unafraid to do that when it is about the safety of our students and staff.
Safety first, essentially.
Always. Safety trumps anything that we do in a school district.
So other than COVID-19, which is the most obvious thing we're talking about now, what do you feel are the most important issues coming up for the Board of Education?
Oh, some of the major issues coming up, of course, not thinking about COVID itself, but a result of COVID, we're going to be dealing with some educational deficits.
Time lost.
Absolutely. And that doesn't imply that the staff has not done an extraordinary job trying to serve students. But we're just like other school districts across the state, across the nation. There are going to be some significant deficits there. The school board is going to have to address those deficits. At the same time, looking at our prior results, the last school report cards that came out, I'm concerned about the number of schools that we have that were that did not meet growth.
Right.
So more academic needs there.
Yep.
I'm worried about teacher retention and teacher recruitment, and actually the teacher pipeline, because not as many people are going into education now as when I was a student. And so I worry about that. And the shortage is apparent already, and it's going to become more apparent as baby boomers continue to retire.
Oh, that's true.
So that's a significant concern that the board is going to have to address. And the growth. You know, I served as superintendent of Harnett County Schools for several years, and it was during the time that we were experiencing explosive growth. We ran out of classroom space on a really yearly basis.
Right.
More mobile classrooms were required to try to meet the needs of our students, and that's not ideal. That's something that the board is going to have to address. I made a quote or said something in one of the interviews that I had, an Indian proverb that comes to my mind, to paraphrase it: when the house is on fire, it's too late to dig the well.
Yeah.
So we need to
need
to be thinking about how we're going to address this explosive growth, because there are thousands of homes projected for our county. Those homes will have children. Most of them will have children, and those children will need schools.
I would think that the majority of the population that would be purchasing those homes will be with kids of school age.
I would think so as well.
Yeah.
I would think so. So we've got to be planning for that now, analyzing. We've got to make efficient use of the space that we currently have, and we need to look perhaps for different ways to use some of our space so that we can optimize what the taxpayers have already expended funds to provide for the school system.
And if you're just tuning in, my name is John Ramsperger with Sanford Real Estate, and we're talking with Tom Frye. Tom is a Democratic candidate for the Lee County School Board. So, Tom, many local teachers in recent years have opted to drive out of town to teach because of higher teacher supplements. What things do you feel that the Board of Education could do to retain this group and overcome the significant supplement difference? Big question.
It's a tremendous question, and it's one that I had to deal with in my last professional life.
Yeah.
We face the same thing. Lee County, like Harnett County, is in such close proximity to larger school districts. Those school districts are able to afford greater local supplements. I don't think a lot of people understand boards of education have no control over what teacher-based salary is. That's a function of the General Assembly. However, local schools or local boards of education can provide their teachers with a supplement to their salary. And that's designed to retain teachers. Something that we've got to make certain happens in Lee County is that the Board of Education and the Board of Commissioners, who would have to fund an additional supplement, have an excellent working relationship. That working relationship would have to be one based on trust both ways.
Yeah.
The Board of Education must trust the commissioners to provide the funds that are available. The Board of Commissioners have to be able to trust the Board of Education that the funds that are locally provided are expended in a way that is making us a good steward of the taxpayer dollar.
Responsible manner, yeah.
Exactly.
Sure.
And to retain teachers, John, something that I truly believe, leadership resources that which it truly values. And if we value our staff as we should, we need to invest in our staff. Obviously, the teacher supplement is important. But additionally, staff must be developed. And so we need to make certain that we have a robust professional development program that gives our teachers the tools that they need to ensure that Lee County is the school district that other school districts aspire to be like.
So what's interesting, I think I heard you say that it's not just the monetary supplement.
Exactly.
It is indeed making them feel wanted, needed, develop them professionally, make them want to stay in Lee County.
Exactly. Yeah, people are going to stay where they feel valued. And I'm not saying the supplement's not important. It is important because people have families that they have to feed. But we have to make sure that our teachers know that they're valued. Our teachers need to we need to make certain that our teachers are heard.
Yeah.
Because the teachers are, I hate to use this expression, but it's where the rubber meets the road.
Sure.
The teachers are the ones who, they are the workforce, a big chunk of the workforce for a school district. All educators in the school district need to be developed. Our teachers, our administrators, our support staff.
Yeah.
You know, we resource that which we value. And if we value our staff, we must invest in them.
So, Tom, as a school board member, should you be elected, how would you stay in touch and learn the needs and concerns of our community citizens, to include parents, teachers, and support staff?
Be seen.
Be seen.
Be seen is very important, and not for the sake of being seen, but for the sake of being aware of what is happening in the school district. The best things that a school board member can do is to make sure that he or she attends events, attends school events, because people will begin to know who you are. You have to make certain that you're approachable. And I like to think I am very approachable.
I enjoy our time together.
It's important to be approachable. People need to feel comfortable asking you questions. If it's a complaint, making a complaint.
Sure.
But as a school board member, and again, I'm basing this on my past life. As a school board member, one has to be careful not to overstep, not to speak on behalf of the entire board, because a school board member is 1/7 of the board, and it takes 4 members to make a decision.
That's right.
So we never speak for the board, and we need to make sure we have an open door policy as an individual. If community, if staff, anyone reaches out to us, we have an obligation to respond. We might not like what we're being told. We might not like what we're being asked, but that's okay, because an individual's perception is his or her reality.
Yeah, entirely appropriate.
And our responsibility is to make certain that we respond to them.
So, final question is a tough one. As a school board member, what are your plans to help improve parent involvement in their child's learning process? I've heard you say some of these examples already, but what do you think is the best way we can get the parents involved?
You know, I'm going to base this on my experience as a classroom teacher and also as an administrator. Oftentimes, parents are involved when there's a problem. Yeah. Well,
that's when you hear from them.
That's when you hear from parents, or that's when parents hear from the school. We have to take every opportunity that we can to involve parents for the positive things that are going on in our school, for the positive things that are happening with their children. Something that may be positive that has come out of this entire COVID situation, this entire pandemic. We have developed a greater reliance on virtual conferencing.
For sure.
You know, for some parents, it's difficult for them to physically come to school because of a work schedule, because of any other commitments outside of the school. I would like to see us do more parent conferences, perhaps virtually. Now,
sure.
I think that would be
We
an
are
awesome
very well
use.
versed at the Zoom meeting now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Google Classroom.
Yes.
There's a medium for us to be able to do this now. And that'd be a great opportunity to get parents involved. Parents want to hear the good things that their children are doing. They don't want to hear from the school system just when there's a problem. I used to tell teachers, the first month of school, make a point to make contact with every parent of a child you teach.
Yeah.
Because if you do so, and make it a positive contact, because if you make a positive contact, if you need that parent for something that's not positive, they already feel like that they are a part of the team for educating their child.
Well, Tom, we'd certainly like to thank you for your time today.
It's been my pleasure.
Yes, and thank you for your interest in helping out with Lee County Schools. We're going to take a short 60-second break, and when we come back, we'll talk with candidate Patrick Kelly. Thank you, Tom.
All right. Thank you.